I'm a member of the P&I World Pension Summit Advisory Board, and I'm delighted to be interviewing Professor Annamaria Lusardi. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you, Don. Very happy to be here today.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, you are the world's foremost expert on financial literacy. What would be different if the world were more financially literate? In other words, what are the benefits to individuals, to their employers, to the world?
I think there would be many, many benefits. We would be, first of all, happier. People, in case you think that money doesn't bring you happiness, I think actually money does. And it's not just money per se, is being able to be in control of your finances, be able to have that confidence and knowledge in dealing with the decisions that we are asked to make today. And I think they make an enormous difference. I think, for example, first of all, people would be better able to decide for their own future, for their own pension. I think that young people would be better able to navigate this complex world around them. And I actually think that many groups would be less vulnerable. And I think the crisis has unveiled this vulnerability. And I think we would be also, suffering from less anxiety. So many people have, anxiety resulting from financial worries. And so I think there are huge benefits at the macro level. I think actually countries can even grow better because I think we could channel savings into productive activities.
So if I may, let me ask you about some specific angles. One is about how debt late in life is remaking retirement and what can be done about it. So it's a very specific issue.
Yes, it's a very specific issue. It's so difficult that Olivia Mitchell and I edited a book about it. So this is something that we had to notice in our data. And we wanted to study, first of all, because often we think of savings. So we are only looking at the asset side of the balance sheet, but not looking at the liability side of the balance sheet. And then when we started to look at the data closely, we realized just one of the things that has changed, just how much more retirees were carrying debt into retirement. And not just a small amount of debt. Often people add half of the mortgage to pay off at retirement. And there are so many sources of debt. And I worry a little bit even about the young generation who start their economic life in debt. And even this older generation, some of them were carrying student loan into retirement. Mm-hmm. So I think, that is becoming an important part of our financial life, so much so that it might even influence retirement. We should be at the peak of that wealth accumulation back then. But, if people are having problem with that, then there is something that that needs to be taken care of in their personal finances.
This is so true. I know people of my generation and the next one who are still carrying this kind of debt, including student loans, etc. So thank you for that. Let me ask you one more question, and that is about the stock market participation of women. I've read that financial literacy among women is lower than among men. So talk a little bit about this.
I'm so glad you asked this question because we have spent many, many years looking into this topic, in particular the gender difference in financial literacy. And I have to say, strikingly, we see a gender difference in financial literacy around the world. And this has consequences when we look at in which way financial literacy matter. And in particular, we look at one important behavior that people, I think, identify with finance. People identify finance with investing, and they identify with investing in the stock market. Yeah. And so we, in our recent paper, we try to understand whether financial literacy affects stock market participation. And I have to say, it really does. So, it's important because, in other words, if women do not have enough financial literacy, they are going to be held back. They are not going to participate in the financial market, in the stock market in particular, which is an important way to build wealth. And we wanted to understand this a little deeper as well, which is, about what explains, first of all, this gender gap. Why do women know less than men? I think we all realize that we all need these skills. And when we look deeper at the way in which women answer questions, we realize that they disproportionately answer the financial literacy question, not incorrectly, but they answer disproportionately with "I do not know."
Okay.
And we look deeper into this "I do not know" and realize it is a symptom of lack of confidence. And we could even measure how much of that gender gap was a difference in knowledge and a difference in confidence. And we estimated that a third of the gender gap in financial literacy is confidence. And when we look at the participation in the stock market, we saw that both characteristics, in other words, the fact that women not only have lower knowledge, but lower confidence, matter for the participation in the stock market. And so I believe that, what the US did, which is put a statue of a little girl in front of the New York Stock Exchange, is indeed a good idea. I think that symbol is absolutely right, that we need to encourage women and girls to be fearless.
I remember seeing that photograph when it happened, and I remember thinking, this is just wonderful in so many ways. This is just a perfect picture. This is terrific. So let's hope we can grow, at least for the next generation, that confidence. Anna, this has been an absolute pleasure. I'm so glad. It's been such a long time since we've talked. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I know our audience will, and I hope we'll see you on October the 12th to 14th at The Hague at the P&I World Pension Summit. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation a lot too. And thank you for inviting me to join you today.